There's no question at all. We're going to continue. What we've done here so far is just the beginning. If it's done right, we won't just be famous in Taiwan. We just may be creating something that the whole world will know about. We've got something definitely worth developing here. It's not easy to do, finding such a large flatland forest here in Taiwan. The area here, in terms of both ecological resources and cultural resources, is extremely rich. As long as we let the forest grow and remain healthy, her value to the environment here will be incalculable. Visitors to the area ask us, so are there plans to stop development of the park after a while? Naturally, this is up to the central government, whether or not it's sustainably managed. As long as it is, those of us living on the park's periphery will always support her and ask that she continue to grow proud and strong. Danongdafu Forest Park embraces 1,250 hectares. The Taiwan Forestry Bureau and Taisugar Corporation have carpeted this expansive lowland plain preserve with just under 20 different lowland tree species, most of which are native to Taiwan. Former saplings have matured into the sturdy young trees that comprise Danongdafu's visitor-friendly forests.
Our school's drum corps was invited to perform both at the Danongdafu opening ceremony and at the opening of the park's wooden walkway. For the kids, it's a place they can enjoy, as well as feel a proud sense of accomplishment about. That's why they have such a sense of emotional attachment. This is such a fantastic place, great for a long stay experience. I mean, staying here for more than just a day or two. Then you can begin to really appreciate the beauty here and start doing activities like these. Exploring, learning more about the environment. This is the best way to help students and visitors to the area really expand their knowledge and understanding.
这边有来过举手，都有来过。好，手放下，因为你们很近，对不对？你们学校离这里很近，好吧？我们今天呢，我们这2天1夜呢，我们要在大家都来过的大农大富，大家都没有过夜过的大农大富过夜哈。
Most of Taiwan's forest recreation parks are located along mountainsides. Now our lowland forest is just what it says, lowland. She's a large, really large lowland secondary forest. For the average visitor, it's easy to take things easy, feel really relaxed, and find fulfillment. Danongdafu's natural environment supports a rich biota that already includes 60 bird species, 50 insect species, around a dozen species of reptile, and at least 5 mammals. Lush, natural scenic beauty was once a rarity in Taiwan's lowland forests. Work reforesting the plains finished up about 10 years ago. After that, we leased a part of this land from its owner, the Taisugar Corporation. Now on this area that we reforested a decade before, we moved ahead with plans to create one of 3 national lowland forest preserves. This was the beginnings of Danongdafu. I still remember everything like it was yesterday. After being tasked with reforestation responsibilities, I visited the site together with senior officials from our bureau. They learned the area had already lain fallow for a while. These sugarcane fields had been left untended for 2 years or more. It was overgrown, so I can honestly say It was a situation that worried me for quite some time. The original plans for a lowland forest were announced suddenly, so we didn't have much time for planning. We had no chance to do pre-planning 3 years beforehand, so we ended up having to make do. So the Forestry Bureau put out the call to Taiwan's 8 forest district offices and requisitioned pretty much all of the available deciduous saplings from their nurseries. Everything was shipped to Hualien. I remember we were inundated with nearly 2 million saplings. There was no particular order to the species and quantities. A lot of some, a little of others. How would we deal with that? We ended up deciding to alternate species every 6th row and planted about 1,500 trees per hectare. So the way we did things created a somewhat different effect. Danongdafu was once sugarcane as far as the eye could see. It's really fortunate this area could be preserved intact. Cultivation of sugarcane began here during the Japanese colonial period, so there are some relevant cultural artifacts dating from the early 20th century here. Earlier still, this was once a hunting ground for indigenous tribes. The area's history ties together indigenous cultures, Taiwan's colonial era, and Thai sugar, all the way down to today. The whole area is steeped in history and culture, so we've got exceptional natural resources, as well as cultural heritage. Are we attractive? Are we good? Definitely very good. Fantastic. Indigenous culture, Hakka culture, Southern Min culture, all have roots here. And together with the forest and ecology, enrich Danongdafu. As caretaker of the area's cultural heritage, Hualien Forest District Office regularly holds art and cultural activities in the park with neighboring communities and groups to promote local culture, and invites visitors to experience, unfettered, the area's pervasive culture and nature. Taiwan's Forestry Bureau manages 3 lowland forest parks. One is Danongdafu. We've also invested quite a lot of resources here. Project work will commence from next year, and after everything is finished, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at the difference. This area here all around us is segregated into 5 sections. The Eco-Security Buffer Zone is the dark green area here. The major water flows through the park traverse this zone. So we extended this part of the buffer zone. This part is almost 1/2 of the whole park. Secondly, number 2 over here. This section here is the largest and most complete. When reforestation started, work began in the north and moved south. The trees here were planted earliest and are now the largest and prettiest. That's why we've named it the Forest Experience Zone. Now thirdly, this light olive green Nature Discovery Zone was named this way because we've left it wild, with no crops or saplings being grown. So Nature Discovery seemed an appropriate name. The Central Zone was where the offices were during the Japanese colonial era. This zone functions as an efficient control point for visiting vehicles and as a centralized delivery point for introductory information on the park. Another section is this deep grass green section here. This section is where Thai Sugar organizes programs promoting chemical-free agriculture. That's right here. So we call this section the Lohas Recreation Zone. That's pretty much the organization of the park. When you're dealing with nature, of course, it's impossible to create something less than real. While we definitely had a hand in creating this park, the process of creation, I think, was very natural, in harmony with nature. We've also made every effort to make the park accessible to all. Park facilities are all barrier-free, to give those with disabilities full access to the forest.
I feel the Forestry Bureau has done a particularly good job in this respect. I have the feeling that as long as things continue on course, it won't be long before we see a lot more visitor traffic. Naturally, we're not anxious to see crowds piling in. We'd like to see a reasonable, steady number of visitors. We're hopeful that more people from the community get involved in the park to make her even more wonderful. We need to protect our forest and protect this land.
Danongdafu in Hualien, today its verdant beauty belongs to everyone in Taiwan. The main purpose of this hot air balloon activity is to let our friends in surrounding communities take to the sky and view the coastal mountain range to the east and the central mountains to the west. Going up in a hot air balloon lets us see broader, farther and bigger.
Looking down from above, you see a lot of interesting features. Sunland and Moon Pond. The indigenous warrior discovery and recreation area is over here. It ties the Rift Valley together. Hualien City is to the north and Yuli is to the south. Wow, the setting is truly majestic. Animal life in the area is also gradually recovering and expanding. The trees are maturing, giving animals new habitats and places to shelter. The upward trend will continue as food sources continue to increase. So no question, reforestation has been good for the environment here. We share an intimate connection with trees. How then should we help the public really appreciate how the forests, the plants, relate to our everyday life? How to connect teaching to learning? I think that it's great that we put everyone up close and personal. Let everyone experience things themselves. I think this way, we'll be able to achieve what we hope to. I have no doubt the best is yet to come. I can't wait. The public will experience it all. Of course, we hope this area will continue on its low carbon, low development density, low commercialization course. Really, all those who visit, pretty much 9 out of every 10 visitors, support continuing like this. It's because they like the freedom, relaxation, and beauty that this kind of environment provides. This has always been a relatively impoverished area. No visitors, no tourists. These development plans have naturally brought in the tourists, lots of them to the area.
Putting all this together at the Danongdafu Forest Park, it's simply fantastic. The park covers everything we're looking for in an ecotourism experience. Getting more people to come will make things even better.
Keep it up, Danongdafu Forest Park! You've got our support!